Ladies and gentlemen, that gasping sound you hear is the sound of Washington trying to catch its breath after Donald Trump's attempt at reviving the Gong Show last night in a special election edition. And his speech, touted as groundbreaking and vital by the White House in its usual dire and hyperbolic terms. As his speech is going down in history as a historic embarrassment, one key bit of evidence he cited is keeping the political set in stitches. And I have to admit, this is a new level of dumb even for President Dementia. In case you need a Friday laugh, or in case you need some 90s nostalgia, and really, who doesn't, get comfortable and ready, Player One. We have details next here on The David Reddish Show. Welcome to the show, you beautiful viewers. I am David Reddish, as always, asking you to subscribe to our channel now if you have not. Also, once again, if you are in the Washington, D.C. area and enjoy that majestic theme music to our show, remember to check out the composer, Justin Renaissance, in concert this Sunday. He will be performing hits from his pop catalog with that soaring voice of his, so check him out. But all right, let's get into Trump's self-immolating speech here, shall we? As you know, it aired last night in a manner of speaking. All the major networks refused to air it except for CBS, which aired only a few minutes before cutting back to regular programming. The reason? It was a reprise of the same lies he's been telling about the 2020 election for years. We were tempted to show a little blooper reel here of some of the biggest whoppers, but we don't want to risk giving you stupid. It's more contagious than that lettuce diarrhea, people. However, following the speech, Democratic Senator Mark Warner did appear on the CBS News and had some choice words about how the network ignored Trump's lies.
No. And a matter of fact, before I start, as an American, not as an elected official, I was embarrassed that the President of the United States went before our whole country, and networks like yours carried this as news, as opposed to a rehash of falsehoods. And it is incumbent upon you and any responsible journalist to push back on these falsehoods.
It's satisfying, isn't it? Especially with all the ongoing stupidity stemming from Bari Weiss and her tinkering about with the news. And yes, it's not even the stupidest part of all of this. And if you're concerned about Trump making you sick with stupid, diarrhea to lettuce, or anything else, and you're on Medicare, you should know about Chapter, the sponsor of today's episode. If you are on Medicare, it's important that you know. Chapter's independent Medicare advisors will help compare every Medicare plan for you nationwide. And remember, there are hundreds, so you can find the one that is right for you. This is a free service that does the comparing for you, and it works! Yesterday, I had a message from a viewer named Shelley thanking me for referring her to Chapter because it is saving her money. Patients who use Chapter save on average of $1,100 per year. So then, for free and unbiased Medicare help, dial 262-454-0219 or go to askchapter.org/Reddish to get started. With that, Trump's speech seems to be making everyone sick, including Republicans. After all, Trump claims China tried to interfere in the 2020 election, but one of the documents he released says the opposite. China didn't want Trump to win, but did not interfere. The same document, however, reveals that Russia did interfere in the election to help Trump. Go figure. And yes, it gets even more embarrassing. A new report from Talking Points Memo highlights what might be the most absurd element to this entire fiasco, and might just send you looking for a retro computer game to play. Take a look at this. Talking Points Memo reports this morning that among the very dubious evidence Trump unveiled last night is a claim that voting machines were reprogrammed to play the video game Doom. In case you are not familiar, Doom was an ultra-violent and groundbreaking computer game in the 1990s, what's called a first-person shooter game. Players stumble around shooting at bad guys and looking for an escape. It's fun, right? According to Talking Points Memo, one bit of evidence cited was how hackers, quote, modified at the 2019 DEF CON voting machine hacking village to run the popular video game Doom, close quote. There's even a photo of it. But here's the catch. Yes, Hackers did reprogram a voter machine to play Doom back in 2019, but that was in a controlled environment where they were allowed unfettered access to the physical machine and its software without any kind of security pushback. The event and the Doom voter machine were covered by the Washington Post back in 2019. And here's the key bit. Intelligence services and computer experts found that while the machine could be hacked, it was virtually impossible to do so remotely. In other words, foreign actors from China or anywhere else would not be able to just reprogram the machines without having direct physical access to each machine. So, in other words, Trump actually disproved his own assertion. The machines could not be hacked on a wide scale, and thus the 2020 election was secure. So here's my question, folks. Does President Strokey Face say these things because he doesn't actually understand the facts? Or does he cite evidence disproving his own claims because he doesn't have the attention span or cognitive function to even understand them? And the best part is that even Trump's Republican sycophants are distancing themselves from him after this wild speech, which, as I always say, is just good taste. And even better, it further undermines the case for the SAVE Act, which would disenfranchise thousands of Americans from voting. So, my suggestion to Melania, Mar-a-Lago's driest sand trap: the next time President Gropey busts out some video games as evidence that his presidency is under attack, maybe suggest he just play the actual game before he goes public. You know he'll forget about it within 30 seconds. And message to Trump: you may have just uncovered your own doom. This is the David Reddish Show.